There's drivers and jockeys, caretakers and landscapers, investors and interns, veterinarians, restaurant owners, restaurant workers, tour guides, trail guides, equine therapists, and so many more. Now that's horsepower. Virginia's economy wins.
The 2025 Global Symposium on Racing. It's the premier networking event of the year. Connect with the who's who of racing. Collaborate face-to-face with key decision makers. Be a part of the international conversation. Discover the latest technology and innovation. Join us December 8th through 10th. Register at racingsymposium.com.
The Pennsylvania breeding program is the best program in the country. The scouting awards, the owner bonuses, also the restricted races and the stakes races for Pennsylvania breeds. This year, 8 breeders are on track to earn over $200,000 in breeders awards, and 2 could hit the $1 million mark. We have the best program in the country. Take advantage of the fantastic program that we have. Learn more at pabred.com.
Nothing compares to a horse. They inspire greatness, command respect. Because Virginia's horse industry isn't just racing and farming. It's built on the skills, labors, and passions of dedicated people working in every industry throughout our state. Horses fuel the economy, even make dreams come true. Virginia's economy wins with horses. Find out more at virginiahorseracing.com.
Sirius XM Sports presents Castle Races with Steve Byk. In the coming interviews. This is Castle Races with Byk.
Team about the sale results. Rachel Walton, Chiefs Trail. And
A very good Wednesday. It's a fun free entry announcement day. The breeding stuff. Sirius 162 XM 207 Sports Zone 999. If you're listening to Sirius XM online and at our website. Rainy up here. I think it is on state though. I did not go to Aqueduct. I was up early enough. In fact, I was up ridiculously early. Like 2 o'clock early, and sort of monitored. And it's just rainy. I don't know. So this is too much. Leaving Saturday for Del Mar, and I thought, you know what, we'll save it. He's gonna run November. I think we'll take a break.
a very good Wednesday.
He just ran a career best a month ago, so 5 weeks ago. So
Sirius 162 XM 207 Sports Zone 999. Sirius XM online.
75 days. Rationing. That might work. Anyway, one thing I will mention is not to dwell on our 35 claimer on Breeders' Cup pre-entry release day, but Romero Moran got banged up pretty good on Monday. So we lost Romero, and he went so well in September. He got beat that literally, who knows. He's got a fractured elbow.
He just ran a career best a month ago, so 5 weeks ago.
Terrible.
So, maybe.
Especially going into the winter season, where he figured to make hay. I mean, he'll heal up pretty quick.
That's well on our 35 claimer.
Elbow's tough, right?
Breeders' Cup
These guys
pre-entry
break
release day.
ribs and
But
collarbones and
Romero
so forth pretty
got
regularly.
banged up pretty good
Quick,
on Monday.
in fact, I got to send him a note.
So we lost Romero, and we rode him so well
Best wishes and
in September.
heal up.
Got beat him.
Text. But we ended up with Kendrick, who has ridden Landauer. So, safe trip to
Best wishes.
Whoosh. The horse is beating that race.
But we ended up with Kendrick,
It's a good
who
race
has ridden
today.
Landauer.
It's
So,
a good race
safe
all
trip
over the place.
to
Wednesday,
Kendrick.
Keeneland, of course, well, actually, we'll catch up with Jeremy Swan.
He's got a fractured elbow
Some opinions from
and a
Jeremy.
broken thumb.
Wednesday, Thursday
So,
action.
Felt terrible.
Closing Friday and Saturday, some nice stakes.
especially going into the winter season where, he
In New York.
figured to make, make hay going into the, he'll recover.
Too.
He'll heal up pretty quick. I think he's young, but elbow's tough, right? Thumb, these guys break ribs and collarbones and so forth pretty regularly. So, quick, I think I sent him a note. I should send him a best wishes. Heal up text. But we ended up with Kendrick, who has ridden Landauer. So, safe trip to Kendrick. Armouche, the horse to beat that race.
And that Cognoscenti came back. And
Wednesday. Keeneland, of course, but actually we'll catch up with
was
Jeremy
gone wide. It was in the other race. I think Miguel Clement's real savvy in some of the two, but
Wednesday,
I
Thursday,
think okay.
action.
One of the horses that the makers got spring back and 5-1. It's a good race. It's a really good betting race. Morley's got one off the plane. Bad. 6-1. Yeah, there's a bunch of good races. Made us. It's a good race. No, it's 87-1. Got a safe trip around 11:30 today for 3 entered fields for the 2 days of
until entry and until there's formal fields set. There, some various tidbits kind of leaked out and are coming forward. As always, the Coolmore team, you always seem to get some specifics that emanate from Ballydoyle about some of the rumored horses that are coming or not coming. To be honest, the more you look, particularly at the, as we said the other day, I think last or said with Nick Luck, the more you look at the turf, the more appreciative I think we are of the international competition, because Mini Hawk's involvement and commitment, that only elevates the affair. Because if it was simply going to be Rebels romance against the the Hazarai that we've floating around North America, it wouldn't be much of a it wouldn't be much of a race. But we know at least you got Rebels romance and Mini Hawk facing off, and there was word that Resolute John Stewart was supplementing for Goliath. Yeah. And so that adds. I think the last few hours ago, and one of the reasons I was up early was I wanted to also see, you go poking at Racing Post and At the Races websites and so forth. It does not look like it does not look, as of the most recent notes, that Ombudsman is coming. So it might be just a mini Hawk Rebels romance as the central, and Goliath a little bit. There's if you look I'll put out the links to Odds Checker early this morning. If you want, for those that are going to be looking at 11:30, a lot of times we listen in to the feed. Probably at the very least, we'll get the juvenile races. But, I put the link up to the Breeders' Cup YouTube channel. That'll be streaming the announcement, FanDuel, and so forth. Okay. But I'll send you the Odds Checker anti-post. When you go to Odds Checker, give you some specifics. When you go to Odds Checker, you're going to see the 7 flags that are offered up. Don't click on the American flag. Click on the Union Jack, and go to the UK version of Odds Checker, and you're going to see anti-post racing. And international as well, and so you'll see advance, what the bookie shops are offering on the Breeders' Cup fields, and it's always interesting to see who's got a little bit of a buzz in the bookie shops. So, for instance, Rafe Beckett, one of the horses that. Another international player, Amalok, Rafe Beckett. Going to be, once you get past in that turf, once you get past Mini Hawk and Rebels Romance, we'll see what the view is of Goliath, because I guess, I don't want to say soundness issue, but he's been kind of nursing an issue. So anyway, you can't enter if you don't pre-enter, right? So and you get a lot of that with the O'Brien team too. I mean, there's O'Brien. There's going to be a number of these pre-entered O'Brien horses that won't make the trip. They've already trimmed to a certain number, and then they'll trim some more. So and for their final their final assembly that they bring stateside. But what other intrigue manifesting over the last 21 hours? The question about the question in the Classic about Chad Brown, and whether Chad was going to include contrary thinking potentially, right? For involvement, for participation, to help boost the pace along. That story. One of the other owners that's involved in the race was talking about it on Twitter. Wink, wink. We'll know everything we need to know, at least about the shape of the fields and the flow of the 2 days later. All right, not very. To quote, who was it? Magenta in Rocky Horror. Not for very much longer. What else we got going into the day? We've got we got Sale. The Sale had a very good day again yesterday. 2 $500,000 hips that paced day 2. And interesting again, a lot of some very eclectic. You go through the the buying bench, very very varied in a big way actually. From that standpoint, there's still that same almost frenzy to acquire horses. And one thing I noticed, I'll bring this up with Sid later. Sid at 10 o'clock, of course. Sire Watch Pedigree Focus, brought to you by Hale and Dale. I thought it was notable if you go all the way through, go all the way down, to the 4-digit, really some of the 4-digit purchases, and there's some big names that are buying horses for 5,000, 7,000, 10,000. We can't explain it enough that if there's a horse that hasn't done its growing yet, you can get a bargain, and if depending on your perspective and your the way in which you look at a young horse, being able to see where the growth is going to come, they can be awkward right now. And by, there's some people, there's not just people buying, it's like when it comes to the, what we did in New York last week, the weanlings. There's people that bought those weanlings. Then all they're going to do is hold them November, December, January, and sell them as short yearlings. And see how they grow. So it's a fascinating exercise. So we'll do some. We'll get a little bit of the sales stuff in with Sid. I heard from Nick Casato, who I mentioned yesterday. I want to get Nick on. He's chaperoning his nice sprinter, Drain the Clock, and these are his first yearlings, and he had another good day yesterday. A lot of mid 5-figure sellers and more. So I Drain the Clock to me is a real story, and you know what? If we don't talk to Nick this week, I will get him. We'll get him at Del Mar's his backyard. So if we don't get Nick, and when you're working a sale like this, and if you go up and down that roster, you'll see there's trainers there. I've been wanting to get Jose D'Angelo, who's going to be, involved, of course, with he's going to send out favored Ben Tornado in the sprint. But he had one of the 2 Florida Sire winners over the weekend. I thought, but he's wandering around Newtown paddocks trying to find horses for clients. So we'll save it. Everybody will be very much dialed in and focused next week. And I'm getting excited. I got to tell you, when you get to this pre-entry announcement, this all the speculation is great and whatever, but when you've got a bunch of 14-horse agglomerations to peruse. Yeah. I think that was triple word score, I think. For somebody that got up at 2:00, I don't feel punchy. Check back with me at 11 though. It might be a little might be a little punchy by then. Dick Powell's going to join us shortly, and I just put up Dick's pick 3 for the Valley where it's happy. And of course, they've been happy. They've been happy since Friday night. The Everest win by Kaiying Rising. We'll get Dick's impression. I've got a bunch to do with Dick, actually. There's also, I didn't mention it yesterday because I knew that Dick would be with us, but the passing of So You Think. Yeah. What did 19, I think, right? 19 years old. He was fabulous, and I'm pretty sure that's one of Dick's all-time favorites. So we'll let Dick pay tribute to So You Think. We'll look at what's ahead. We're actually within earshot, eye shot of champions. The HKIR, the international races, are not far off. So you're getting those kinds of rumors as well. And I wanted to see what Dick. I wanted to see Dick's thoughts on Breeders' Cup, saying that they did not feel a need to cut off the computer groups at 2 minutes, utilizing the Del Mar policy, and they cited, last year that there really was not any, there was not the volatility that we've been seeing, most obviously these last 2 weeks at Keeneland. That the pool size is big enough. Now, the interesting thing is, we weekly are looking at Hong Kong, and even Hong Kong, where they're two meetings a week, and as gigantic as their pools are, we've seen some late movement, So I want to see what Dick's thoughts are on that topic. So Dick and Sid. Oh, I forgot to because I don't typically book. We don't typically book segments, 48 hours out, but Damon Thayer is going to join us at 10:30 after the break, and I'm going to get an update from Damon on the situation in Florida and First and Belinda Stronach, and there's been a steady there's if not the actual work in Tallahassee to discuss, there's been some tangential elements to the the whole landscape. It includes Mike Rapoli's been saber rattling that he's ready to buy Gulfstream, but Belinda's not selling. And this is really actually this came up at Santa Anita a couple of years ago when there was the uncertainty that was tied to the spate of injuries and fatalities, and there were literally 3 or 4 different parties that said we'd be quite happy to buy the racetrack, and they were rebuffed. So Damon's got updates, and we'll see where things stand, and then we'll probably get the next set of news and so forth on that when we're at Arizona at Symposium, which is inching closer as well. There's also, I should mention, there's some nice racing. I told you about Keeneland, but there's also, as Rachel said yesterday, there's Champions Day at Saturday at Horseshoe, and it's not just the flat. There's 5 stakes on the flat, and then there's another 4 nice purse quarter horse stakes, 300,000, 250, etc. So there's that. There's New York Showcase, and two of the Showcase stakes are part of the cross country, and we'll start to handicap that. And the combination, actually, I'll tell you the combination. Dick is with us. The combination is the Iroquois, the Ticonderoga, the Bryan Station, and the Fayette. Those are the four stakes. It's 4 out of 5 stakes in the cross country. And then there's also Keeneland's 7th, which is a second level allowance. So an allowance and the 2 graded stakes at Keeneland, plus the Iroquois and the Ticonderoga. From Aqueduct. And Dick Powell, good morning.
Steve, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Getting excited about. I'm sorry you're not going to be out there. You know, it's funny that there were two regulars from the show that were supposed to come out. You and Johnny D, and you both are vet scratches. I'm disappointed because I was looking forward to sort of having, you know, there'd be a lot of us, Hammer and you know, some of the other the DRF team and so forth. Anyway, I'm sorry you're not going to be.
Me too.
Dick, the first order of business. We could do it chronologically. Let's go back to Friday night, Saturday morning, and Kaiying Rising. I mean, that I thought that was pretty impressive.
Well, I hope people were able to or can on YouTube watch the half-hour show, because the crowd there was just electric, and it was young, and it was just everything that we say we want for racing, you know, new generation, everything else they have. And it wasn't necessarily Kaiying Rising, because the event had sold out way before David Hayes was committed to go. He just added, you know, lots of icing to the cake. But the crowd there and the singing and everything else, and Zach Purd indicated that they were trying to get him riled up, so he took him down the end and got him away from the crowd a little bit. But he's won 14 in a row. He's won God knows how much money. But he breaks with the pack and then sets up shop. So big field doesn't bother him turning right. He does that in Hong Kong. And he just sat third and waited and found his spot. And I think he could have won by 4 or 5 lengths. I mean, he went 108.13. I mean, he has 107 in his pocket. You know, he didn't have to pull it out in the Everest, but it's there. So it was just tremendous to see him win convincingly. No asterisk, no nothing. He's the dominant sprinter in the world. I know Nick Smith from Ascot is working on him. They get him over there in June, and we'll see. But he traveled, no issues, and that speed away from the gate just keeps you out of so much trouble. So he's just sensational. He came home in 33. You know, just the usual Kaiying Rising that now everyone got to see. So that was just exciting race, but an exciting event. The place really was electric. So that was really fun to see racing as it should be.
It's funny. Somebody, who was it? I'm going to forget. I'd have to go back through my timeline. Made note, and I was included in a variety of responses, and they talked about that atmosphere. And going back, gosh, now it's a long time actually. Australia was really the first marketplace, it seemed, that was utilizing the the venues to promote after racing parties, essentially, and they're very much geared toward a young adult audience, and that's been really successful. And I talked about also, I responded about how when we were at Longchamp last summer before, 24, they had put together this Jeudi, Thursday, and there's an X in there, JUEXDI, and they've put together this Thursday program and I saw that this summer they did it again. Thursday night DJ parties, and it's I don't know if it's a separate admission, but it's been a huge success, and it culminates with essentially a DJ concert. I think Avicii 2 years ago, or I mean, it was a huge DJ. I mean, an international star that it was culminating with, and I remember Cincinnati, Chip Bach at Turfway. There was a period where Friday night they were doing the Friday night promotion, and Cincinnati Magazine called it the best cheap date in the tri-state area. So I mean, because somebody said, "Oh, the racetracks, we don't do that." There's a lot of evidence that if you do it and you do it on a sustained basis, you can get people in the habit. And I think that's one of the hopes, Dick, with the new Belmont. I mean, between having the train, the train station be a regular stop on the Long Island Railroad, the overflow and the interplay with UBS, with the arena and everything going on there. I mean, there's a real potential, and it's got to be called Churchill. I mean, you go to these Downs After Dark is a big success. So we can do this. I mean, and once you get people in the habit of coming and soaking in the atmosphere and seeing a few races, that's half the battle.
Well, it worked, and I'm sure the people that went will be back. And it's a matter of, you can't get them back next year. You got to get them back sooner than that,
right? And
kind of create regular customers. But it was just electric. I really enjoyed it, and racing down there is a little bit different, because when you go to the Melbourne Cup, it is young people, but it's also every single person in the crowd is dressed up. I mean, there's no short sneakers, sandals. They're dressed like they're going to a wedding. Now, they also act like they're at a wedding. Some of the drinking. And the newspapers have photo galleries.
Yes, they do. That's right.
People passed out. I don't stay for the end of the card, so I missed out on all that. But they also have a thing. If you park in the car park, you don't leave without passing a breathalyzer. So if 5 people go to the track, one of them has to pass the breathalyzer. So you have to have a designated driver. So that's great. But then the train system from downtown Melbourne at Flinders Street, it runs every 4 minutes, and it goes right into the track. And I remember getting off the train, and people from Tab were there handing out $6 Pick 6 tickets. Freebies. Pick who you want. Go ahead. And it's a lot of fun and all that, and you can see the fun. And then for Carrying Ryzen, to kind of spoil the fun, because the home team took the loss and Hong Kong took the win, and it was just great. And the fact that he can ship as easy as he shipped. Now, Ascot's a different ship, different time of the year. This was early. He was freshened up for this. He had one prep, and I loved the analysis of the barrier trial and the negativity that somehow got attached to that. If you watch it, all he did was break on top from the outside, stayed out there, galloped along. There were two horses to his inside, and they all hit the wire together. And that's negative. That's a sign of, oh, something's wrong with Cayenne Rising stuff. It was just nuts. So glad I was able to get to see things like that and not let that penetrate. But, you know, they were looking for chinks in the armor, and then the betting starts, and he's 1 to 10. I think he went off 1 to 5 or 3 to 10. But, so anyone that thought he was going to beat didn't back it up with any kind of serious money.
Well, it's a very cool horse, and you know, I had Nick Luck ostensibly to recap Champions Day, and I can get some thoughts from you on that too. But we got so much to do, Dick, and let me, with about 6 minutes to post, let's take a look at this late treble. Give us your pick 3 play. I posted it, but let's, for those that aren't on the Twitter, let's give them some action.
Okay, race 7. We're going to go 6 furlongs, come out of that little bend and then straighten out. I went 2, 4, 8 in here. Ace Power had a series of bad post positions. He's already had 3 starts this year, so this is his 4th start of the year. The track's only been open about 7 weeks, so these horses come right back. He's a legitimate horse. He's won at Happy Valley. Luke Ferraz gets back aboard. Last race, he had severe problems, so I can forgive that. Draws post 3, so I think he'll be stalking. Watching the races today, now I know it's raining, but the inside looks good. If you're down in the inside, you're getting good footing. So Ace Power will be down there. He's number 2. Number 4, Sight Happy, was 9 to 1 in the early betting. I don't have the odds up in front of me now, but he's a Star Spangled Banner that has won at Happy Valley before. David Hayes, who Cayenne Rising's trainer, has been breaking from post 2, and then the favorite is number 8, Silver Spurs, by not only the king of Happy Valley, but Kester Found is winning all over Hong Kong. So he's the second leading trainer. He uses Ellis Wong here. They've had 6 wins already together in the season, and he'll be a big, strong favorite. So we're going to go 2, 4, 8. Maybe we can beat the 8 if it's 2 and 4. Second leg, we're going 2 turns. The 5, South Star, is a strong favorite. He adds the hood. He got Zach Purton, draws the rail, going 2 turns. It's just like, oof. And gets over at 129. He's not carrying too much weight. So he looks like a legitimate favorite. Number 9, Ivy League, from Doug White and Richard Kingscote. And Nick has talked about how difficult it's been for some of the British riders to go over this year. What's the other guy's name? Probert and Richard Kingscote. But he looks like he has a live mount here on the 9 Ivy League, and number 11, Top Time. I thought I was getting sneaky with this until I saw the early odds. He was 6 to 1, but he's the lightweight in the race, and I think he can make some noise. So second leg, 5, 9, 11. Then the third leg, back to 6 furlongs. And by the way, when you draw the outside, post 11 is 0 for 35. And post 12 is 0 for 33, going 1,200 meters at Happy Valley. So for me, that basically tosses. If I can get a big price on someone, maybe. But I'm ignoring them today. I'm going to go with number 2, Sovereign Fund, Michael Chang and Karis Teeton. Number 6, King Lotus, coming off a good race. And he's only had 4 career starts, and he's won 2 of them already. So he's an up-and-comer. Maybe we'll see him in the foil season later on. And then number 8, Akashvani, David Hayes and Zach Purton, the Cayenne Rising combination. Showed good speed last time, weekend, but that was from post 13, draws a lot better. So pick 3 at Happy Valley, starts race 7, 2, 4, 8, race 8, 5, 9, 11, race 9, 2, 6, 7.
Very good. All right. We're now 2 minutes, so we'll keep an eye. Let me get some audio ready as well. No light just yet. I don't want to. I don't want to launch into the other topic stick with about figure a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
I can do so.
Go ahead.
Quickly.
Go ahead.
I went to see him in 2010. He won the McKinnon at a mile and a quarter on Saturday on bottomless ground. Came back in the Cup on Tuesday. The ground was even worse. It was pouring rain. He had the lead deep in the stretch. Wound up running third to American Alain de Royer Dupré from France. Pulled the upset on that. He got sold for big money. Went to Coolmore and started out great. Then he got beat in the Prince of Wales at Ascot. And that was a race Frankie hit Lee Wilden, I think, 30 times in the stretch and got like a 40-day suspension, but he won by a nose, and they didn't change the result. And then he was kind of up and down in Europe. They shipped him all over the place. They shipped him here for the Breeders' Cup Classic, Arc de Triomphe. I mean, they went everywhere. And towards the end of his career, Joseph O'Brien, I think, made a big difference because what Aiden realizes, this horse wants to go. Doesn't want to go on the lead, but he's not a hold-up horse. And unfortunately, they were training him like a hold-up horse, and that just wasn't the case. So once he started being let loose a little bit better, and Joseph riding him, he was just sensational. So he won 5 Group 1s down under, 5 Group 1s Northern Hemisphere, and it was just, he looked like a wild animal. That he had this crazy mane, and it just didn't look like a well sculptured thoroughbred. And won 2 runnings of the Cox Plate. The first as a 3-year-old, which doesn't sound big, but that's in the spring, taking on older horses. So he was one of a kind, and sad to see him go.
And it comes on the heels. Oh my gosh! Last month, just died as well. Hold on.
Well, which one? Wooden Bassett died.
Oh, for goodness sakes! I'm drawing a blank for whatever reason.
We'll get used to it because it's going to get worse.
Fastnet Rock.
Yes. All right, they're off.
Here we go.
Followed by Basic Instinct between runners. Game Player Elite, Absolute Lucky 4 wide. Young Striker 1 off the rail from Ace Power. Young Striker just over racing. Grand Nova came next. He's caught wide, wanting to get the head up, and then came Rewarding Twinkle and Shotgun. He is back last inside the 800 metres. He's got a good lead here as the favourite Silver Spurs. 3/4 of a length over Golden Luck, who got to his outside from barrier 9. Crystal Powerful a length away third, followed by Absolute Lucky, who's covered a little bit of ground. Basic Instinct from Sight Happy, Game Player Elite. Young Striker a length away with Grand Nova, Rewarding Twinkle, Ace Power and Shotgun 1.5 away last. Homeward bound they are, 300 metres left to go. It's the favourite given full bore, Silver Spurs. He's out by a length and a half. Golden Luck not going away though. They've cleared out on the rest of the field. Down the outside to Grand Nova staying on. Basic Instinct, Crystal Powerful. Silver Spurs in front. He's creeping closer. Golden Luck. He's coming after Silver Spurs, who fights again. Silver Spurs, never in doubt, beats Golden Luck second, and that's the way they've gone to the line.
Well, there was only a fleeting moment, right? And then Wong let him out a little bit and just kind of held him safe to the wire. Wow, 1-2. He really got pounded late, Dick.
Look at that boy.
Yeah.
He did get crushed, and he deserved it. And Wong is he's one of the success stories of the jockey development program, where they send young riders out to other countries. They get tons of experience. If they're good enough, they bring them back. They start out with 10 pounds, so they get business. And Ellis is now down to 5 pounds, but he'll be very dangerous now that he has tons. Like when he was in Australia, I think he had 600 rides. So that they get all this experience internationally, then they come back and they develop. And Hong Kong's always trying to develop their own riders, despite all these riders from around the world looking to go. They want as many as the young riders. And Ellis is one of their real success stories, and he went it for Casper Found. So they now have 7 wins together out of 26 starts together. So there you go. He got hammered.
Well, and that can feed us into another topic. What did you make of Breeders' Cup bypassing the opportunity to utilize Del Mar's 2-minute cutoff of the groups?
I was surprised because once Del Mar did it, then it's real easy to say, well, we're doing it because of them, or you kind of have your excuse. But I don't know anything, but my guess is they asked around among these big teams and how much it would affect them, and I guess the answer was it's not going to be good for business or whatever, and they're going ahead with the normal betting right up to off time. And just the timing was horrible because they announced it, and then you had that Keeneland exacta, which is the highway robbery. So that keeps the issue going, and then here the Breeders' Cup had the chance to step up, and they didn't. So.
Yeah, and they referenced last year, and Del Mar, of course, they were at not that the venue makes all that much difference, because the volume, the business is going to be the business, and it's the most substantial, other than Derby and the like. But they said that reviewing the betting last year, that there wasn't the late odds changing impact going back to last year. So we'll see. I mean,
with pool sizes the way they are, that's very possible.
Yeah. It's a topic that it reached a tipping point. It took a long time. I mean, we've been talking about it here literally since 2006, and it didn't really capture the zeitgeist, as they say, until the last 3 years, give or take. But the critical mass the critical mass has been achieved, and what I suppose we can bring up at Arizona is the industry's collective answer. I mean, there's been individual efforts. NYRA, I mean, nobody has done more than NYRA has, in terms of segregating retail only opportunities for the players, and then cutting off the betting 2 minutes out. It's helped a lot, but the industry collectively needs to have. I mean, it's one of the real frustrations, Dick, that when there is and you could call this a crisis, because it absolutely qualifies as a crisis. It's a crisis of confidence, and the mechanism continues to be missing for the industry to give a wholehearted and full-bodied response to the largest single component that puts money into the game, and that's the bettors. As always, the response is piecemeal from various quarters as opposed to, a unified voice.
Well, the good news is that the self-appointed commissioner has now taken this issue on, and clearly he will fix it like he's fixed everything else that he's taken on. So I have great confidence that this will get resolved and life will go on.
Give everybody. We got a Presque Isle winding down, and what do you got for everybody at Presque tonight?
Okay. Let me do the pick 3 first. Starting in race 6, Presque Isle closes tomorrow. So Thursday is the last day of had a good meet. They've done some smart things, and field sizes have not been bad, and I just like the fact that they race the same time. They don't screw around with their schedule. It's really important, and they stick with it. They have a nice little niche. So today's niche begins in race 6, 5:45 post time. 6 furlongs on it to Peter. Number 3, Golden Heart. Brandon Culp has had a terrific meet. As I'm talking, I'm trying to find the standings that I did print out, but naturally can't get my hands on them. Culp was either second or third leading trainer, and just he's really high percentage also. So going to go with Brandon Culp in race 6 with Golden Heart and Martina Rojas, who also has had a terrific meet. She's running 14%. It gives her horses quality rides and very good with speed horses. And this horse is a speed horse. So number 3, Golden Heart. Going to use it with number 6, Bedtime Story, and number 7, Spanish Terror. So all 3 of them. 6 might get a trip because the others have speed, but we'll see. I think the 3 can get out there and dominate. So 3, 6, 7 in the first leg. Second leg, we're back to 6 furlongs. Going to go number 3 again. Wartastic. I was considering singling her. She was so good last time out, going 5. Comes back 3 weeks later. I think she can run right back to that race. But the 6 and the 8 are also coming off good races. So, and this time of year is really tough because you got a horse jumping all over the place class-wise. And, that happens, and horse dropping down is going to be very tough. So 3, 6, and 8 in the second leg, the final leg, race 8. Going to go with number 6, Magnus Effect from the Speed, Aldana and Scott. They're 28% together. Horse just missed by a head. And even though it's been stuck at this maiden claiming level forever, had to blink his 2 back and picked it up in last race, was kind of a career best. So I'm kind of looking for Magnus Effect to maybe replicate that against a pretty weak bunch. So we'll go 6, and then with that one, we'll go 10, Dominator C, and number 11, My Vacation from Jorge Delgado. The last week, he has horses up at Presque Isle. So Presque Isle Downs, pick 3, begins race 6, 3, 6, 7, race 7, 3, 6, 8, and race 8, 6, 10, 11.
Nice. And regarding
one thing that kind of went under the radar was as the jock race went along, Papo Morales is only 3 behind going into today. and with fewer mounts than Gallardo. So he wound up having a Pablo Morales type season. Gallardo dominated last year and was dominating this year. And then inching along, here comes Morales and cut the lead pretty sharply. So 2 days to go, 16 races, being 3 behind, not impossible. So Morales ended up having a real good meet. His win percentage is higher than Gallardo's.
he's a good little jock. And we talked about Gadiel Martinez quite a bit over the course of the meet. The ageless Willie Martinez, right up there. You were talking about the trainers earlier, and between Pimo and the Rices, they were talking about Juan Arriagada. He leads with 40 wins. Very quietly, a guy that Randall Russell, who we talked to, I think, last season, right?
Absolutely.
How about Randall Russell, 36 wins on the season? Good for him. And then Brandon Culp, Ron Potts, Kevin Rice, Scooter Davis, Murray Rojas, who has emerged from what was an absolute ordeal for her. Come out the other side successfully. Teresa Connolly and Matt Kintz. There's your top 10 on the horseman front. Did you hear me? Did you hear me yesterday, Dick, about we had Kyle McDaniel about the rating system, and
no, I missed it. I wish I had listened.
Well, you can catch it on the archive. Because I made the point to him, I asked him, where they stood. They've got a lot of inquiries from other venues. Santa Anita is going to be obviously the first, and they got these first two races on Saturday. But I said to him that Presque Isle would be a fascinating place to do this, just because of the continuity and the regularity with which the horse population races.
Yeah, as long as everybody has a rating, so that shippers, which there's many, would have ratings coming in. So it wouldn't just be
everybody's got every horse in that's in this Equibase system has got a number.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I think you're right, and Harness has Trackmaster.
Yes.
And I've heard it explained that it makes sense to me. And naturally there was resistance. Some of the tracks use it. They'll ride a race using Trackmaster ratings, but then in harness racing, in order to fill the field, they have to go to these secondary conditions. So then one of the secondary conditions will be, and for Trackmaster horses rated between 74 and 78 or something. So they haven't gone to a system where, or not very often, this race is limited to these horses rated within this range, which the rest of the world does. Hong Kong, obviously, Australia, everyone does it for most of their races. So I wish it well. I wish they would have kind of, it almost looked like it got sprung upon people. So that there wasn't a big intro and rollout. But yeah, it needs to be done. Now, is it's so frustrating. Like the other day in New York, there were 211 horses working out at half mile. All right, now I then look at the past performances. I'm like, where are all these horses? So you get tons of horses working out, not necessarily getting in the box. Now I hear trainers and how frustrating it is getting into races and races filling and things like that. So if it helps races fill, then that excuse gets taken away, and you're gonna race more. So I hope, believe me, I hope it works. I'll be glad to support it as a handicapper. I think it's great, and I give them credit with starting out at a big track. It'll be interesting.
Well, again, it's an attempt to do something that could benefit the game and could make for. We'll see. I mean, could make for potentially, more bettable races, and if we can, once the thing gets some momentum and continuity to the figure side of things. I thought Kyle was very responsive and and clear about they know that there's going to be adjustments they're going to have to make, and the reverse engineering kind of thing that comes with a project like this. That if there's numbers that are being generated that that seem amiss and seem off kilter, figure out where where in the formulation what where the aberration is coming from. And you got to you got to give this a chance. I mean, the people that are the people knowing about it, it's so strange to me that everybody says, oh, the game resists change, and there's no we don't. We've got all these problems, and no one does it. Well, here's somebody trying to do something, and that gets ridiculed. So I just I suppose that no matter what, I suppose that there's going to be segmentation that is just going to find fault with anything. So you just gotta plow forward.
Well, and I'm guilty of this. We're used to eating bad food, and then we complain about the small portions.
Hey,
that kind of sums it up.
Exactly.
So, but I hope it works. I know it's going to be not an overnight sensation or anything else like that, but it's just the system now. It's all great for the $1 million yearlings that know this maiden race is going to go and this and that, and plotting out campaigns and all that. And then when you get down to everybody else, and it's a scramble. Some people are good at it, and some people not so good at it. There was one thing I was going to mention, but there was always either running yesterday, today, 7th race, number 6 at Presque Isle, Viscountess. Brendan Culp trainer has had 7 starts this year, 6 of them at Presque Isle, has won $62,000, running against 6,000 claimers, 5,000 claimers, moved up to 10 for one race. But the point is, she's obviously winning, but she's winning against low-level horses. And because they're able to run every 2-3 weeks in a relatively short period of time, she's won $62,000 this year. It's fantastic. And I think that's as we've talked before, the beauty of a Tapeta or a Hong Kong, where the tracks are so kind to the horse's legs and everything. It pays dividends. You get horses that can race more frequently. And I wish that were some kind of parallel path in American racing, that we make it easier for horses to enter and easier for us to bet because they be competitive fields, but also race over surfaces that don't knock horses out, or haven't had rain in a month and turf courses rock hard, and just things like that.
No, it's been it was a good season, and I know what you mean about kind of grinding out and the opportunity to run. It's going to be one. It'll be one thing. Glenn Kozak was tied up today. We might talk to Glenn tomorrow. I tried him yesterday, and with everybody talking about the excitement toward Belmont's reopening next September, and the sadness that that'll accompany Aqueduct going away, I think the Tapeta era at Belmont is going to be fascinating.
For both racing and training, to be able to train up,
yep,
choose and stay on schedule.
Yep. Exactly.
Speed is almost always available, so you're not getting knocked off your schedule. The horses coming out of it better. The racing is not going to take that much out of them. And from what Glenn says, I'm sure he reinforces with you, they put in just state-of-the-art training systems on the turf courses and the dirt course. So they'll be able, especially the turf, will be able to handle wet weather better than it used to, stuff like that. So all of that should add up to a big positive for horses being able to race more frequently.
Exactly. And that, not to mention the potential for certain class of, particularly of New York breds, that won't necessarily going to have to go down south for the winter to seek out turf racing.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, people are, we got plenty of time to talk about this down the road, but people are making out like, oh, there's all these negatives and it's going to impact the horse population, but there's a whole flip side to that, that could positively impact the horse population and the opportunity for card building for the racing office. So, and NYRA has made, NYRA's trying to get out in front of it by creating this New York bred purse parity that starts with next year's 2-year-olds running for the same amount as the open horses. And we talked with Harlan Moulter at the sale last week about Bucaro and what he did the party in terms of a sire that not that he's exclusively by any means a turf or synthetic sire, but he's proving out as an excellent synthetic sire. So there's the Aikendale and what NYRA is going to turn that into a way station and a place for the New York horses to back and forth through Saratoga. I mean, there's been some behind the scenes maneuvering that should prime the pump for next winter. Not to say, Dick, that there wouldn't necessarily be some growing pains or a learning curve, but we got no choice now.
No.
There's only one recourse from this point. So, Dick, I appreciate it, and good luck here. We're going to try to get through the next
we
two
got
legs.
Another favorite, and then maybe some value in the last leg, but it's all right. I'll take a short pick free anytime.
Exactly. Dick Powell, everybody, HKJC, and thanks for a great Presque Isle season as well. I do have to get Pimo in one more time before the season ends, maybe tomorrow. And I think we got Sid. I think Sid's already here. Sid, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Sid, what watching this sale, and there's already this morning, there's already been is this, do I have this right? A $725,000 Justify.
Yeah. Good sale, right?
Yep. It's amazing. And all the players are on hand too. And it's a nice variety.
Have you noticed that every time we talk about any sale, we could just use the same comments you and I make for every sale. We don't even need to talk about it. We can just plug the same comments in. It's been those type of sales for a while.
the I don't know if you heard, if you had a chance to listen yesterday, but I had Price Bell join me on the heels of and they, you know, the John Clay and I mean that's such a crazy success on Monday. You buy a mare in fall for 900,000, and the first that fall that she delivers turns around and sells for 900,000. So it's like, okay, that's an easy accounting maneuver.
Yeah, right. And now you have the mare for the rest of
Exactly.
her career if you want.
And she's a young mare. She's 7 years old, the mare.
Yeah. No, there are all sorts of huge stories like that, you know.
The thing that I'm always watching for is always the, you know, the young sires. You look at the I don't know what benchmark you want to use, maybe 250,000 and above, and it does. You get the sense that, yeah, I mean, I'm just looking through here. These are all, you know, real proven top level stallions that sold. Oh, and by the way, I'm just seeing Maybury, the $350,000 purchase, the Medagliadoro. Take a minute, Sid, and talk about Medaglia's passing.
Yeah, I mean,
or being taken out, not passing, but taken out of service.
Retired,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, the horse has had such an amazing career. You know, it's rare these days. How old is he? 26, I think.
20 years old.
Yeah, really amazing. I mean, covered mares this year, so he went deep into a breeding career, and he's been excellent throughout. Don't forget, his first crop contained Rachel Alexandra.
Yep.
Now, his most recent crop of 3-year-olds includes Nitrogen and Good Cheer.
It's amazing.
Which is really amazing, right?
Yeah.
Usually there's a drop-off we see with older stallions, but we've always recommended him right throughout. If there's any one thing that you can say, quote unquote, to knock, it's that the fillies have been better overall, especially his best fillies that his colts had. But having said that, you know, what's wrong with Rachel Alexandra's and Good Cheers and Nitrogens and everything else in between, right?
100%, and you know, and
of course he's gotten good colts too. I'm just saying that, you know, it's not like he hasn't, but the fillies have been such exceptional fillies that they tend to stand out.
100%, and in the animal husbandry world, you know, when it comes to this, it's just as important for a stallion, you know, to be a broodmare sire, quote unquote, right? Being a good broodmare sire is contributing to the stud book in a vital way. I mean, they all, you know, one of the big knocks, you know, people say when Secretariat comes up, everybody very frequently you hear, well, he wasn't a great stallion. Whoa.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Right, exactly.
He contributed tremendously to female lines as a broodmare sire, and it's just the nature of, right? It's just the nature of genealogy.
Yeah, it is. And you know, he was out of a Prince Quillo mare, that Secretariat. Prince Quillo was another phenomenal sire of mares, right? And he kind of, if you look at Secretariat and his racing app, Prince Quillo was a big staying horse. up until Secretariat, you know, Ruler really wasn't getting that. Bold Ruler was more of a speed influence as a son of Nasrullah. So, you know, what breeders were doing, Claiborne was breeding them, the Prince Quillo mares, these staying mares, to Nasrullah and then later to Bold Ruler and other Nasrullah line sires. It's not just Secretariat. If you look at Paul Mellon's great European race, Mill Reef, I never bend out of a Prince Quillo mare. Same type of thing. That's, by the way, that's, you know, how Knicks happened. And it's Nasrullah line with Prince Quillo mares. And so Prince Quillo added such a quality to these horses that a horse like Secretariat, as we've seen in retrospect, tended to become more of a Prince Quillo type of broodmare sire influence instead of as a sire of sires. So by that, his sons, and he had several successful ones, but they kind of didn't carry on that sire line, say like the Northern Dancer line did. But as you said, it was through the females that he severely impacted the breeds. So much so that there, you know, so many stallions, outstanding stallions, are out of Secretariat mares.
When, and I'm just looking at, I just pulled up. I was worried that that the stallion register would have already taken there. Whether even though Medaglia d'Oro won't be available in the spring, in the winter to cover, his last fee was $75,000.
Yeah, it had dropped. Yeah.
It's, you know, it's funny. I just thought of this when I saw the stud fee. A friend that I grew up with in Manchester, Connecticut, I haven't talked to in years, but early on when I was doing the show, his name was Peter Garman, and Peter, when he found out I was doing this, he said, "You know, I was offered a chance to invest in a thoroughbred stallion, and it was Medaglia d'Oro somehow. Somebody came to him, yeah, and offered him early, right at the beginning, right early on, Sydney, and he did well. I don't know if he eventually sold his share of the season, or you know what role he had in it, but I just seeing the stud fee made me think of Peter. Peter's a fascinating guy, a terrific pitcher, tall, lanky, a tall, lanky type, right. With one of those motions that, you know, by the time the ball is released, the batter's eyes are crossed. And then he went down to South America and he started an import business. He brings fabrics and all kinds of from Colombia. His wife's Colombian.
Fascinating.
Yeah, but how he got involved with Medaglia d'Oro, I never really got those dots connected. Anyway, it is unbelievable to think that at age 24 he was getting nitrogen and good cheer avenue. Unbelievable. And you know what's interesting, there's kinds of runners that are still out here. How about Grand Sonata?
Yeah, that's right.
6 years old, and probably gets he's a horse. He's going to get a chance out of an AP Indy mare. Hope Mission, who we're going to see in 2 weeks. Spirit of St. Louis.
Yeah.
Had a great career. This kind of career seems like maybe it's a tick past midnight. But Nitrogen's going to have every chance to win the distaff. And you look at the leading lifetime runners, just unbelievable.
Yeah, really. A phenomenal career. And, the other thing that's worth noting about him is that it's through, Frank Stronach brought over
El Prado,
the first real Sadler's Wells horse that succeeded in North America, and that was El Prado. And what El Prado got besides Medallia was, of course, Kitten's Joy. Became a leading sire, became a leading sire as a predominantly turf and all-weather sire, which was really something else to begin with. But with Medallia, he got a horse that really got dirt runners. So I would say El Prado was the first Sadler's Wells to succeed on dirt, and he gave that trait to Medallia. And so Medallia has established dirt as well as turf and anything else, whereas, say, Kitten's Joy was primarily just turf all weather. Medallia established this real North American presence of the Sadler's Wells line for dirt. And here's an interesting thing about this. John Sakura, Hillendale, stood Medallia in his first year at stud when Rachel Alexander was conceived, okay? After that first year, he was moved. He was owned by some people called the Hayesfields, and they moved him after that first year from John's place, and then later Sheikh Mohammed purchased the majority interest in the horse, and that's how he ended up at Darley. But John Sakura started this horse off, and ironically, at the end of Kitten's Joy's career, which Kitten's Joy enjoyed with the Ramseys, John Sakura brought Kitten's Joy to his farm.
That's right.
So he was involved in the El Prado sons that succeeded on both levels, at one point early on with one, late with the other. And he also happens to stand his best son, which is Violence.
Yeah. There's the fact that there's tentacles. There's tentacles all over the place off of him.
Yeah, exactly. So, Sakura has played a pivotal role in this in one way or another, where his influences.
You know what else should be noted? Considering, we talked in the last couple of weeks about some of the shuttling, most notably American Pharaoh. But Golden 60, he got Golden 60. He got, right?
Yeah, that was a gelding and outstanding. And of course, kind of bred on that really great cross he had too with the 49er line, particularly through Distorted Humor.
Talismanic. Yeah. Talismanic and Vancouver from, the various Globetrotting. And, by the way, go ahead, Sid. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You mentioning the deal that John Sakura made with Ramsey, but I'm also thinking about Ghost Zapper, and in reviewing some of the horses that were listed at DRF on their Breeders' Cup likelies, Ghost Sapper at his advanced age has got a hatful of contenders for the cup.
Yeah.
I just all of a sudden, when you go through and you see the stallion, the sire listed, and I after a while I said, holy cow. Then I'll add them all up once we get everything done later, once all the pre-entries come out this morning. But Ghost Sapper seems to be at what you would consider an advanced age. How do you treat that when it comes to your, to the mare compatibility analysis? And is there a point where you expect diminishing returns from an aging stallion?
Well, normally you do, and I don't know. There's talk of physiologically the genetic component, perhaps. People bring that up. But another part of it is just the age of the stallion means that older horses tend not to get the best mares anymore. Whether it's because of some fertility issues, so people don't want to take a gamble with some of their better mares to the horse. So for whatever reasons, and it is true that they don't tend to get the same type of mares, you have some factors that push downwards and create the horse, create a situation where the horse's numbers kind of diminish. And that's, not getting theirs, fertility, perhaps, and perhaps there's this, although I don't believe it, some people do say that, the potency of the horse in terms of getting better horses diminishes. That's been, when you look at horses like Northern Dancer and Mr. Prospect, are two stallions that had very long careers, that wasn't the case whatsoever, but it is true though that as soon as the whiff is out of a horse's potential fertility issue, breeders, even if they do go, will send a lesser mare instead of their top mare because they don't want to risk missing a year with a high class mare. So that's one reason why some of these stallions may have diminishing returns as they get older. But like I said, for Medaglia d'Oro, I mean, we recommended him all through his career, including this year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And,
at age 26.
Yeah. So it's been I'd love to, see him get a few more good sons out there as well. But he will have a big impact to his daughters. I mean, that's for sure.
And going back to these 3-year-olds, Nitrogen, Good Cheer, East Avenue, and Ballerina d'Oro, it says it certainly says something that there was confidence. I mean, here, just looking at Good Cheer, that Wedding Toast had been to tap it a couple of times before Medaglia d'Oro, so he would have been 22 when they took Wedding Toast to him to produce Good Cheer. So I mean, the confidence, obviously, you look at the kind of breeders that are involved here.
Well, of course, Darley is Good Cheer, isn't it? So it's their stallion.
Godolphin.
Godolphin, yeah. Godolphin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Godolphin, Darley.
Yeah.
But Nitrogen, that's a homebred. Interesting. That's a question I could ask Len and John Green. because the nitrogen's a homebred of theirs, and they went to him at that age.
Yeah. No, it's really something.
Finally, let me slip in as we were winding down last week. It was the funniest thing. I asked you about sons of siblings, I should say, of successful stallions getting a chance. And lo and behold, that nice filly of Arundel's, you want to talk about a template. She's by St. Patrick's Day out of a brethren mare. It was,
yeah.
And I started to laugh. I got the biggest kick out of that.
Yeah, that's right. And St. Patrick's Day, of course, is the full brother to American Pharoah.
Exactly, and brethren, Super Saver's brother.
Right.
Was a decent horse, but he got a chance to stand because of Super Saver's success.
Right. Exactly.
So it's kind of funny. Sid, next week we will be.
Oh, by the way, for next week, I guess I'm telling you this now with everybody listening. I'm not going to be available because, Jack Work, founder of Work Therapy Consultants.
Yeah.
My good friend, his daughter, Chris Work, is getting married in San Francisco, and I'm going out to the wedding, and in fact, I'm officiating the wedding.
Very cool. You made reference to this. That's tremendous.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, to do that, I had to take an exam and become a minister, so I'm officially a minister. And I didn't realize I got this clergy card, bro. You would not believe all the benefits of clergy.
Oh, that is funny.
I mean, like if you fly on a plane and stuff, you get a preferred seat. And I'm not using it for all that, but I mean, it's just like, oh my God.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I have the card with me now, and so, I'm just wondering if I could pull over for speeding tickets instead of the old Brooklyn maneuver of the pulling out your license with the police benevolence card.
Right.
Now I just pull out my license with the clergy card, and I want to see how that works.
This is too funny. Well, can we? I'll be at Del Mar, and I mean we will have the fields early in the week. Can I get you earlier in the week with a couple of thoughts?
I'm leaving Monday, and I'm not coming back till. When am I coming? Oh, I'm coming back Thursday night. I mean, Friday is the only possible day.
All right. I mean, well, Friday we could get at least a classic. You could give us your classic pick.
Well, let's do a classic pick type of analysis on Friday. We can do that. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
There you go. I'm penciling you in. Sid Fernando, and what do we call you? The Reverend? Are you the Reverend Sid Fernando?
I think Minister Sid Fernando.
Minister, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I can be deputy minister.
You'll be deputy minister in that show on Friday. You'll be the deputy minister. I'll be the minister.
They write themselves, Sid.
Yeah, it's really something, that it's really something how this all happens. I had no idea about this stuff. I mean, I didn't go overboard and order the minister's robe, but I thought about it.
Well, that maybe just like one of those things over the shoulders.
Yeah, they have that part too. But you know what? I didn't do that. I didn't really want to. I didn't want to go. overboard in the whole
Yeah.
thing. But I will tell you one thing where it did actually benefit me. A real quick story.
Yeah.
I had to get the passport renewed online, and for normal renewals online, they say it's 6 weeks, and you fill the whole thing out, and so I had filled it out, but apparently I must have made one. I guess I had not filled one line out, so they actually called me about it to tell me, and then in the course of the conversation, I said, it just came up, and I said, I'm clergy, I'm a minister, and the woman immediately, her attitude changed, and instead of the 6-week thing, they sent it to me in 6 days. They turned it around and sent it right to me, almost like it was expedited.
That's tremendous. You've struck now. I understand why all these people. Nick Luck did this recently too. Nick became a. He did it for Brittany Urton's wedding. He officiated Brittany and her husband.
Oh my God!
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
It's kind of I had the same thing early in Brooklyn when I was coaching baseball. In my community, everybody knew who I was suddenly because we were having a lot of success. We had gone to the 10 and under travel ball World Series in Myrtle Beach. We won that, and there was a big Daily News article about our team and me. After that, it's everywhere I walked around in Park Slope, people were saying, "Hey, coach," and you had this community acceptance, and you were like considered, one of the leaders of the community, and I was just known as coach. Yeah, and now I'm getting a new thing, as minister.
Exactly. You've added a new wrinkle to your what do they call them? Honorifics. It's another honor.
It's another honorific. Plus, I'd already go here in Tampa. Guys were calling me the dog trainer, but now I'm the clergy dog trainer.
Unbelievable. Sid Fernando, everybody. Sid,
all right.
Safe travels. We'll talk next Friday.
All right. See you. Bye.
Sid Fernando, Sire Watch, Pedigree Focus, brought to you by Hill and Dale. Let's take the break. Damon Thayer is next. We've got a bunch of things we can talk about with Damon. Florida, first and foremost. Second half at the races. Stay with us.
At the races with Steve Byk on Sirius XM Radio.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions and offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Racing with Naira. $200 deposit match promo Steve 200. Visit NairaBets.com for details.
Horses power Virginia's economy, creating over 38,000 good, fulfilling jobs every year. Think about the farmers, the farriers, the feeders, the athletes, trainers, drivers, and jockeys, caretakers and landscapers, investors and interns, veterinarians, restaurant owners, restaurant workers, tour guides, trail guides, equine therapists, and so many more. Now that's horsepower. Virginia's economy wins with horses.
The 2025 Global Symposium on Racing. It's the premier networking event of the year. Connect with the who's who of racing. Collaborate face-to-face with key decision makers. Be a part of the international conversation. Discover the latest technology and innovation. Join us December 8th through 10th. Register at racingsymposium.com.
The Pennsylvania breeding program is the best program in the country. The Stallion Awards, the owner bonuses, also the restricted races and the stakes races for Pennsylvania breds. This year, 8 breeders are on track to earn over $200,000 in breeders' awards, and 2 could hit the $1 million mark. We have the best program in the country. Take it to the fantastic program that we have. Learn more at pabred.com.
Nothing compares to a horse. They inspire greatness, command respect. Because Virginia's horse industry isn't just racing and farming. It's built on the skills, labors, and passions of dedicated people working in every industry throughout our state. Horses fuel the economy, create jobs, support thousands of families, and even make dreams come true. Virginia's economy wins with horses. Find out more at virginiahorseracing.com.
Sirius XM Sports presents At the Races with Steve Byk. Horse racing, handicapping, interviews. This is At the Races with Steve Byk.
We're back about 10 minutes into the second half on this Wednesday, pre-entry announcement day. Coming in now, it's under an hour, 11:30. They'll go through it. Typically, I think we'll get the juvenile races, and we'll listen in. And Seth, a lot of times I'll have Seth with me, so maybe we'll do, we'll probably do that. Jeremy Plonk in about 20, 25 minutes to talk about Keeneland as well. Right now, Damon Thayer back with us, and even though the decoupling fight is not front and center right this minute, things kind of bubbling beneath the surface, as it were. And want to get Damon, good morning.
Hey, Steve, good morning. Thanks for having me back on your show. And you described it perfectly. It's not front and center, but all of our sources in Tallahassee say that Gulfstream Park, Stronach Group, First Racing, whatever you want to call them, are working behind the scenes to gear up to try to pass decoupling again. As you know, I'm a senior advisor for the Thoroughbred Racing Initiative, which is a terrific coalition of owners, trainers, breeders, sales companies, van companies, other folks who work in the business, not just in Florida, but around the country. And we defeated the decoupling bill during the 2025 session of the Florida legislature. But the new one starts right away the first week of January. Last week it didn't start until March, but in even numbered years it begins in January. So, last year we were sort of caught on the back foot. If you'll remember, it was quite a shock to all of us when it was announced that Gulfstream wanted to decouple racing from its gaming license, which it has had now for 20 years, as part of an agreement with Horsemen, as part of a law passed in Tallahassee, as part of a local referendum passed in Broward County. They wanted to undo all of that with a bill that was introduced in multiple forms in Tallahassee. So Steve, we won the battle, but I told the group of folks that I work for that this is like the Revolutionary War. There are a lot of battles fought, and some of them the good guys lost, some of them the good guys won, but eventually won the war. And Thoroughbred Racing Initiative wants everyone to understand that we're on offense, and we're not going to get caught on the back foot again this year. And we're better prepared this year than we were last year, but we can't let our guard down.
There's a two-prong, I guess it's a two-prong reply to that, Damon. First of all, talk about what might be different this go-around than last winter. first of all, address that, and then I want to, as a corollary, I want to talk about the overtures that have been made to Toronto to buy the track. And one of the things that in some of the conversations you've been having as part of a buildup to help gird the fight here, industry wide. You've been hinting at some of those kinds of overtures. I want to have a parallel track response from you as to what we have to do immediately, and then what some of the alternate and long-term outcomes might be with or without Gulfstream Park involved.
Sure, Steve. Let me take those sort of in the order you asked. What's different from let's call it last session? We're better prepared this time. We've got a great coalition. We've got people lined up. If testify in front of legislative committees, we've got a great group of people as part of our coalition who are ready to go to Tallahassee to tell the story. We have built good relationships with legislators who have listened to our story of 33,000 jobs, $4 billion in economic impact in Florida, and the fact that it's not just about Florida, because the Sunshine State is such an important part of the equine ecosystem in North America. We sold $500 million worth of yearlings last month here in Lexington at the Keeneland sale. The Fasig-Tipton sale is going on right now, and it's going well. 80% of those horses that were sold here in Lexington last month, and 80% of the ones that are sold this week, are in or going to Ocala to get their pre-training at one of dozens of the best training centers in the country, in North America, because Canada is a big part of this as well. So we've got a lot of people who support our coalition who understand how important it is, and the precedential setting nature of decoupling, because the marriage, the 30-plus year now marriage of expanded gambling in racetracks is working well in a lot of places. But if Florida decouples, it could, pick a metaphor. It's a slippery slope. It's the camel's nose under the tent. And horse racing exists. The benevolence of legislatures in the 38 states where parimutuel betting is legal. And we have to be ever vigilant and make sure, because the legislative membership changes every 2 years. We have to make sure that we've got good relationships. And we have built up some good, really great relationships in Florida. As a matter of fact, just 2 weeks ago, I was in Ocala, and Tri hosted a fundraiser at OBS, one of our strongest partners in our coalition, Ocala Breeder Sales. Tom Ventura and his team hosted a fundraiser there at OBS the night before its sale for Senator Jason Broder, who was one of the key senators in helping to defeat the decoupling bill. Because Steve, we have to be political. One of the reasons we got caught unawares is a year ago at this time, Gulfstream Park was in Tallahassee handing out over $300,000 worth of campaign checks. And there was no political apparatus set up to fight that. But our board of directors, which is David O'Farrell, president, John Green, vice president, and board members, Mark Cassie, Dr. Barry Eisenman, and Aaron Wellman, they have agreed with my strong recommendation that we be political, that, we've got to support our friends. So those are the reasons why we're better prepared. And by the way, I was down in Ocala last 2 weeks ago for this fundraiser, and Tom Ventura gave me the tour of OBS. I watched some of the sale. Michael Farrow, the founder of Ocala Stud, David's father, gave me a tour of Ocala Stud, and I got to spend the morning with Mark Cassie at Cassie Training Center, one of the coolest training centers, I think, in North America. And I turned to Mark as we were watching one of his horses work at the Cassie Training Center, and I said, I get it. I now can see it with my own eyes. how important Ocala is to our ecosystem and why it's such a special place. Okay, so I've answered the first part of your question. The second part of your question was relating to overtures about the sale of Golf Park. So, Steve, I know of 3 individuals or entities who are interested in purchasing Gulfstream Park under the current coupled business plan with horse racing and the slot machine parlor on the first floor of Gulfstream Park coupled. One of those is public, and that is Mike Rapoli. And you know, Mike as recently as last week put out on his Twitter account that he is a willing buyer of Gulfstream Park as is, but there's not a willing seller. That's the problem. Now, with other entities that I am aware of that have expressed an interest in buying Gulfstream Park, and I cannot announce them publicly. It would really be up to those entities to decide if they wanted to do that. But I can tell you, without fear of contradiction, that there are at least 3 entities willing to buy Gulfstream Park under the current business model, racing and gaming coupled. One thing I want your listeners to understand, 20 years ago, when her father, Frank Stronach, made this deal with the to couple the slots operation with horse racing, Belinda Stronach, under law, could put in 2,000 slot machines at Gulfstream Park. She has 500. Can you imagine, Steve, the purse money that decision has cost the horsemen, and the tax money to Florida's general fund that has been lost over the last 15 years because that is not an operation that's running at its full capacity under the existing law. Now, the third thing you mentioned, and then I'm happy to answer any questions you want, is try, along with one of our partners, one of our best partners, the Florida HPPA, is funding a feasibility study with the Cornerstone Group, which did the feasibility study in Maryland that led to what's happening now with the demolition of the old Pimlico and the rebuild of the new Pimlico, and Laurel closing in 2 years, and the Shamrock going to be a training center for Maryland racing. All of that came as a result of a feasibility study. We've hired the same group to do a feasibility study. Our Vice President, John Green, who you know is the general manager of DJ Stable, owner of Nitrogen, and a lot of other really good horses over the years, including this year. They're having a fantastic year. John is heading that up for us, and there will come a time where we're going to start talking about the results of that feasibility study. But it's, you know, as you hinted, we're looking at what are the other options. First of all, I believe personally we need to save Gulfstream Park, or at the very least, we've got racing in South Florida for part of the year. We've lost racing in so many major markets like Boston, Detroit, where I got my start, Portland in Oregon, San Francisco, Omaha, just to name a few. We're going to lose Washington, D.C. when Laurel closes. You know, we don't need to lose racing in South Florida in the Miami-Dade area, because that's where we create future fans, is at racetracks in large metropolitan areas. But having said that, we based on this situation, and look, we are determined to defeat the coupling and pivot to whatever the new future is for Florida racing. But we have to look at all the options and have some people look at the options who have done this before in Maryland. And I think you're going to be very interested in hearing what that is when the report is done, because there are options. Look, we don't want to lose Gulfstream Park, and hopefully we won't. We don't want to lose racing in South Florida. Hopefully we don't. But there are other options that we need to look at and try to figure out what the feasibility is of those various options. So there, I think I answered the 3 things that you pinned for me, and I'm ready to respond to any questions you might have.
Well, one part of it, there's an uncertainty that is essentially looming over all of this, and it seems to be essentially driven by Belinda and her immediate circle to negotiate or to even engage in discussions openly and in good faith. How is anybody, principally breeders and horsemen, how is anybody supposed to make term plans with the uncertainty that this is generating?
Well, you've nailed it again, Steve. And I mean, I'm a free marketer. I'm a free trader. I'm an old-fashioned Reagan Republican. I'm a big believer in the free market. But the number one enemy of free market commerce is uncertainty.
Yeah.
Because investors, in this case, owners, trainers, breeders, etc., because of even prior to last year, going back to the big decoupling debate that led to the demise of harness racing in Florida, there has been uncertainty in the Sunshine State for almost 6 years now. And you can see numbers were released by the Jockey Club, and we saw another tick down in the number of Florida foals projected for this coming year. And we see, places like Florida and New York and Virginia and other places where there is certainty. Horses and bourbon, the two great commercial pursuits and passions of my life, both require patience because it takes a long time before either one of those things can get to market and be used. And so people who invest, in this case, in horse racing, they are voting with their wallets. And we know that some mares have moved out of Florida, places like Kentucky, and to Virginia. They've got a good, the certified program there is good. They're moving to New York. New York has an excellent program, and the future there looks very strong. When the state government's willing to loan the quasi-governmental agency that runs the tracks $500 million, that leads to certainty. And certainty causes investors to spend their money in those places and make bets on long-term plays. And that's part of the problem for the Florida breeding industry, because, as you know, the horse industry has multiple components. The sales in Ocala are as strong as ever. The pre-training part of the industry down there is going well, but because of the uncertainty on the racing side, where, and if you've got a Florida bred, you've only got two places to race them: Gulfstream and Tampa. And if there's uncertainty and you're thinking about breeding a mare now, and not having a foal to race for 3 more years, it has without a doubt made people move their mares to other places. And in order for commerce to thrive, there must be certainty, no matter what the marketplace is. And in this case, it's horse flesh. So you've absolutely tagged one of the biggest reasons. In the Stronach group, they love to say, horse racing and breeding is a declining industry. Well, first of all, we both know on the breeding side, there's been a consolidation and a flight towards quality across multiple states and in the nation as it relates to the foal crop. That's hard to explain to legislators who are being hit with 50 other issues at the same time. But it's a self-fulfilling prophecy for the Stronach group because they're the ones who have caused the uncertainty, which I believe has led to the decline in the number of stallions and foals in Florida. And then it gives them the ability to go, oh, look, this is a declining industry. Well, there are still plenty of healthy signs for Florida and in this country for racing and breeding. But they've created their own perpetual talking point that we're going to continue to push back on.
What
I sense your frustration this morning, Steve.
It's just it's just a circumstance where there is a ready solution, and when I mentioned earlier this morning that you were going to be on and we were going to update everybody on particularly the Florida situation, Hallandale to Tallahassee. I mentioned that the Santa Anita, there were overtures made by a variety of groups. There were 3 or 4, very similar to what you're citing for Gulfstream. That there were 3 or 4 different entities that immediately were interested in extricating Santa Anita from the difficult situation that that the breakdown crisis did. And they were rebuffed. I mean, it's a if you don't want to be in this business, then give people that do want to be in the business and that have the long-term interests of the sport, at the heart of their, that's their motivation. Then give others, a chance to go on with it, and you'll get fair market value for the properties.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, there are people willing to pay for both those properties. And
yes.
I have, like you, have a lot of friends in California racing, and you talk about big time uncertainty there. I mean, they feel like they're going to be okay through the 2028 Summer Olympics because the equine competition is going to be held at Santa Anita, but there's a lot of concern. When you hear Gulfstream Park say, well, we'll guarantee live racing here for years, and you see Belinda build horse show rings in the India I mean, it's not that hard to do the math and wonder what are her plans, beyond those years, especially when she won't sell. We're going to continue to have these sorts of frustrating conversations. I want to bring it back to we have to continue to be the loyal and strong opposition to her and Gulfstream Park in Florida and defeat this decoupling bill, because I think it's the one way where we can have a tangible result that shows we are fighting and winning, and maybe eventually they'll be willing to talk to us, to Mike Rapoli or to some other entity about selling Gulfstream Park. So I just keep bringing it back to that. We are laser focused on everything we need to do to defeat decoupling. What we did tell the legislature that we would be working on other options, and that's why, along with our coalition members, the Florida HPPA, we're paying for this feasibility study to be able to say these are some other options. But it's not, this whole situation is not, it is not an ideal situation. And I hate to be a Damon Downer, a few minutes before we see the pre-entries for the break-up. And to me, I love the next 10 days as we see horses from all over the world come into the Breeders' Cup. But I wanted to get on your show before we all focus on what we love the most, and that's live horse racing at the highest level. But when we get through the Breeders' Cup, this problem is still, I want people to know about it. If they want to learn more about us, they can go to our website, thoroughbredracinginitiative.com. There is a place there where you can contribute to our cause to help pay for our efforts. We've got the top lobbying firm in Tallahassee. We have Jenny Reese doing PR for us. We're on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, or X, depending on which one you like to call it. We're going to continue to be very aggressive down there and on offense to make sure that we do everything we can to kill this bill one more time. And if we can fight it, maybe at some point Steve and can get some legitimate conversations going about the future in Florida.
Well, that's yeah, it's a parallel. It's a parallel track. There's the immediate, and there's the necessary strategic planning for long term, and that that's something that the industry. If there's a universal shortcoming, it's the sense that there isn't a cohesive strategic plan for the game that brings everybody together and has everybody pulling in the same direction. I mean,
that's why we've undertaken this study, and it's why we raise money for our little nonprofit here, because feasibility studies like this are not cheap, but it's important, and we felt like we needed to take the lead as part of this great coalition that we have to maybe provide a little clarity about what the future could hold.
When do you expect to release findings?
I'd have to check in with John Green on that, but I think we're probably looking in the next 6 to 8 weeks, before the end of the year for sure. I mean, we're almost to November, so I would say certainly by the time we roll into the holiday season, we'll have something that we can talk about. And I'm always happy to come on your show to talk more about it, because I think it's going to be something to be find pretty interesting, because I've seen some of the preliminary executive summary. It's about 75% done, and it's pretty fascinating, and everybody wants to talk. Everybody's like, well, you can race at Hialeah, you can race on Meadows, you can race at Tampa, you can race in Ocala, and certainly all those things and other options are going to be on the table. Some are more feasible and logistical possibilities than others.
Damon Thayer is with us, and Damon working on a variety of initiatives, and has taken on roles in any number of jurisdictions, including Georgia and Iowa, and most importantly, this work to stave off the decoupling efforts of Belinda Stronach. Damon, separately, I know you've been monitoring, and I saw you weigh in on a couple of different occasions, the frustrations that the Keeneland meet has produced regarding CAW money. This is a topic we've talked about on this show since, 2006 was the first mention of it, and been trying to help people understand what it's all about. You floated something that I didn't necessarily think of. I always had kind of assumed that the various track operators, that bricks and mortar, were going to have to take action the way NYRA has, segregate retail only opportunities for players, and to regulate the incursion of the CAWs and limit the timing at which their money can enter the pools. But you talked about a legislative fix. What shape would that take? And I mean, I really hadn't thought about it, but I mean, considering the breakage legislation, I suppose there might be some work that could be done, or at least pressure exerted from that angle.
Well, this is not the CAWs is not necessarily in my wheelhouse. My friend Pat Cummings is kind of the thought leader on this initiative, working with Mike Rapoli. Pat really understands this issue as well. But obviously I follow it. I know it's a big issue. My home track. I'm headed out there in about an hour. CJ Thoroughbreds have 2 horses in today, so I'll be focused on that. But it's obviously a major issue. And when I was at Keeneland last week, I ran into a legislator who is a player, and a Kentucky legislator, and he told me that he's interested in looking at legislation to deal with the CAWs in Kentucky. And so I contacted Pat, and he said yes, he had talked to the same legislator and another legislator, so that's two, who were looking into this. Now, I don't favor the legislative approach. I wish the free market, the private sector, the track operators would figure this out. But this is a new wrinkle. When legislators frustrated enough that they're hearing about it, that they're thinking of legislation, I would hope, Steve, that just the threat of legislating this might be enough to get the tracks to I mean, there seems to be a majority opinion. I don't want to say unanimous opinion, but majority opinion that a 2-minute cutoff for the CAWs would be reasonable. I would much rather have the tracks do that voluntarily than have it put into statute. But I've seen, and I did it myself when I was in the legislature. Sometimes you file legislation and to try to urge people to do things so that they're not forced into it by the government. That would be something that I would like to see. I did a post about it this morning, and there's already 7,000 impressions and opinions from all over the place on my Twitter feed today with thought on it. So it's clearly a hot button topic heading into the Breeders' Cup. I know that because of the huge liquidity in the Breeders' Cup betting market, that CAWs are less of a factor than they would, say, the fifth race at Prairie Meadows in August, right? But certainly what we've seen at Keeneland is happening. It has been reported on and written about and tweeted about at tracks all over the country. But because it's happening at Keeneland right now, it's certainly more high profile. And so we'll see what comes of it. I know Pat is right in the middle of it, talking to a lot of folks. And, you know, the people who run racetracks in Kentucky are pretty savvy. And I hope they can figure something out, and maybe, you know, all the tracks here could follow Naira's lead and do something voluntarily.
Well, that at least mitigates and it, you know, gives us options as players, and it, you know, it's less maddening.
Nothing worse than bets at 4-1, 3 minutes to post, and then the horse goes off at 9-5.
Well, you know, we've tried to explain, you know, how to anticipate it. There's been efforts like for what Eric Hallstrom's done at Horseshoe Indy, working with DRF and utilizing will pays that then project final odds for people. There, you know, there's. I understand.
I'm gonna say 3 words that are gonna make some people in their head: fixed odds wagering.
We've been talking about it now for too long, and the mechanics.
You're right.
The mechanics just are not. They're just not happening fast enough. They're not. There isn't the critical mass necessary to, you know, the liquidity successful. You know, the model that was developed in Australia and New Zealand, you know, would be ideal. And you know, the fixed odds was offered along, you know, next to parimutuel, and over a period of time, the fixed odds has you know, surpassed the parimutuel on tab. But we don't, you know, we don't have a mechanism, you know, to have a universal tote. That's another.
No,
that was another.
You know,
that was a missed opportunity.
Right.
Well, in 2010, that was a missed opportunity. Satish Sanan had put together an industry-wide comprehensive plan that got Robert Evans and Frank Stronach agreed, and a couple of selfish people in a couple of different arenas managed to. The thing was literally on the doorstep, and managed to. We'd be a completely different place here 15 years later on a variety of topics.
Look, you're talking to a guy who was there for the courtship, marriage, and divorce of the NTRA and Breeders' Cup. I was the Breeders' Cup employee at the time.
That's right.
And I'm not going to name names, but I've seen plenty of selfish acts, you know. The NTRA and the Breeders' Cup was broken up because there were people more interested in preserving their slice of the pie rather than growing the pie for everyone else.
Yep.
And there was a IBM had been brought in to do a big study. This is probably over 20 years ago now, when the NTRA and Cup were briefly merged in the early part of the 21st century. And IBM was doing a big study on tote system overhaul and the whole thing. But, you know, we could go on all day with opportunities in this industry. And, you know, because, you know, people didn't want to grow the entire pie.
Well, that's
but here we are.
Yeah, exactly. That's an ongoing storyline. Damon, I appreciate this. Let me. I want to get. I got to get Jeremy Plonk in for a quick some Keeneland opinions, but it's always good to touch base with you and get these. These updates, along the way. And I think we'll do it again. We'll see you at, we'll see you at Breeders' Cup, but, and good luck today. Get lucky. But we'll see you at, beyond Breeders' Cup. We'll see you at Symposium.
I'll be at the Symposium in Tucson and really looking forward to it.
We'll do our next conversation, I'm sure. Damon Thayer, everybody. Damon, well done. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Steve. Good luck at the Breeders' Cup. See ya. Damon
Thayer, and yesterday mentioned with Rachel Tom's Mag the Breeders' Stakes winner, third leg of the Canadian Triple Crown. That Damon, they had a nice run, right? I got to see. Let me see. Where's my Jeremy's going to join us. Let me reach for my Jeremy's right here. I can hear him. I think.
I'm here.
Well, we're exactly 15 minutes away. So we got 15 minutes before I tune in for everybody to the pre-announcement, the announcement of the pre-entries. But let's get a couple of Keeneland thoughts in, Jeremy, as we see the meet winding down. We got 4 more cards.
Yeah, and if the prices continue like last week, you got maybe to make your meet, right? I mean, geez, last week, 25% of the winners last week were horses 10-1 or more. I mean, you used to see about 9% at Keeneland at 10-1 or more of the races. Just a crazy train, as I called it in the podcast last night. It's we'll see. I mean, like last week, I think part of the big deal was 40 different trainers won the 46 races. That's, when you have no dominance and the top of the leaderboard isn't running away with things, you get that kind of payoff at Keeneland, and that's kind of what I'm looking forward to here. I mean, Asmussen had a great week last week, winning 5. Second leading trainer at the week had 2 wins, and that was Mike Tomlinson. You're not going to pick that one out of a haystack very often, and Walsh had 2 last week. So I mean, it's just if it's not Cock and Wesley Ward and Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown race at the meet, he's been second with 7 of his 14. When that's not happening, the tote board's going to be shifted around a bit, and that's what's been going on here at Keeneland.
Which makes it fun. You mentioned Asmussen, and I'll say this: kind of a quiet. There was like a little of a post-summer lull, and then suddenly has caught fire in a lot of venues. What do you have? 5 winners Saturday at Remington.
Yeah. I mean, he's catching fire, and like he's winning with a lot of horses with conditions, right? And that's when you've got the maidens, that's when barns run up big meets, is when you have maidens, because there are a lot of those races, and you've got horses with those conditions. Then they get through the first level or the non-2, and there's a lot of those races in the book too. So anytime you've got a lot of maidens ready to go, you're set to go on a little bit of a run, because those horses can run through their conditions, and there's a lot of opportunities to run them. But yes, Steve, last week, I think it's 5 wins. 3 were with 2-year-old maiden specials. He's got a couple here. Handicapped Thursday and then Friday so far. And I know he's got a couple more, to keep Byron here before they switch over to Churchill. And of course, it's Stars of World Day Sunday at Churchill, so you would think that the 2-year-old cover would start to bear out, but they'll have a full card of the 2-year-olds there coming up on Sunday.
We love the Stars of Tomorrow 1 and Stars of Tomorrow 2. Two of my favorite race days. I'll be traveling on Saturday, actually, out to Del Mar, but we'll certainly get the work in before then. And you mentioned that you've gotten in, you're readying. And I suppose, by the way, we should also mention last week, Jeremy, you and I and Seth, I thought really helped people for the most part. The Matt Sims horse in the first leg of that carryover was a little tricky, but and a tough horse to find. However, after that, there were a couple of other $10 plus winners that we got people on. I think a 12 and a 14, and who was it? The 2 horse in the second leg that I said I thought you could single and was like 5-1. That horse came through. If you could find Matt Sims, you were able to reach that sequence.
Yeah, and I think Sims has 2 wins on the meet too. So it's not the names that you're used to seeing. I mean, still the top of the leaderboard is still Brad and Walsh, and they're gonna probably duke it out here over the last couple of days, to finish off who's going to win the leading trainer title. But some other names are winning, and that's always good to see, and especially from a gambling standpoint. For all the consternation, and legitimately so, with the late odds drops and everything like that, the prices have been in the win pool have been really good here over the last couple of days, and favorites win percentage for the meets like at 30%. I mean, it's well under. So,
nice.
Call problem, and that's certainly no panacea for it. It's a big top. You can find them. There are prices out there to be had here. You just zig when they zag. That's how it always goes. But today I've got a couple that I like. 6. 3rd, 4th, and 7th are the races I have today, Steve. I don't know if you want a couple plays for today, but Colonel Caliente